Hey everyone, Joseph from ACS Composite. Today we're looking at our brand new C8 5BM Rocker Winglet. We're going to take a look at how this works into our product line and of course how to install it. It's hard to believe it's already been 5 years the C8 Corvette is out. And here we are in 2025 still introducing and improving our product line for this car. Today we're looking at our 5VM rocker winglet, but if we go back to 2020, we had introduced our 1VM rocker. This was our most elegant, conservative side rocker. A full-length rocker, wheel-to-wheel, with a full undercarriage protection. This was done to protect the painted body panel that's located under the car. As the front wheels turn, rock chips fly up. Of course, we have our rock guards, but this portion here has always been exposed. So the under tray was really a novel idea. Also part of our 5VM program. Once the 5VM rocker was introduced, we were now able to basically shock the market with a boltless rocker winglet. We were able to install a 5VM OEM style side rocker without drilling that hole that everybody dreaded. And that was part of the package. We had a patented little bracket, we had the under tray, which gave us the rigidity. So now we had a solution for all the guys that wanted to upgrade to an OEM aggressive look. Of course, then we came out with the 7VM, which was more of a specialty part. That was really the most aggressive, the most sporty, and really a unique styling. So we were using this feature here as a winglet design, and it's really for the guy that wanted to be different. So the guy that's a showgoer or the track goer that wanted something to draw a little more attention, that was that market we were going for. And then finally, a few years into it, we obviously came out with the Z06 side rocker. Obviously the inspiration was the Z06, but we made sure to style it for the Stingray. Z06 rocker is definitely our best seller and our most popular option. Let's not forget our Z51 rocker, which is this one right here. This is basically a production part. Now, if you order the car, a lot of guys made the mistake, they would order the Z51 Aero package, which included the standard spoiler and the front splitter. It came in a textured black, and everybody was disappointed on delivery. It needed to be carbon flash. So at that point, we took that part, basically sanded it, steeled it, came out with our own process to come out with this piece here, which is a Z51 rocker in carbon flash. So one of the key elements that customers want to see on the car is the carryover of this carbon flash component, which was a key element in all the components we designed. Owning the Corvette has always been about personalization. It starts from the day you decide, I'm buying myself a C8. You go on the GM configurator, you start building your car, and rarely will I see two identical Corvettes. I would guess there's probably 10, if not 20,000 different combinations of parts. Once a car gets delivered, now it's the next step of personalization. At this point, you usually turn to ACS Composite and you continue personalizing. So our idea is always to come up with products that match your personality. We want your car to be your canvas. You get to draw it, you get to choose the components, and you get to drive it. And that's where all these components come in. So whether you like our Z06 rocker, our 1, 5, or 7 VM, that's really up to you to decide. And whether you're doing it over a series of years. We always see our customers coming back, making suggestions, upgrading, and really making that combination that calls out their name. And this is what today is all about. It's our 5VM rocker winglet. All our customers that have bought the Z06 rocker do come back at times and want to go more aggressive. So at this point, they're losing their $800 rocker and jumping into, let's say, a 5VM, which is around $2,000. And that jump always is a bit of a shock. It's more the fact that you invested into the car and you're losing that initial part. So either at that point, you toss the part to a friend, marketplace, the forums, whatever the case is. Well, today we're giving that customer an option. This is our modular 5VM rocker winglet. What does that mean? Well, basically, it's just a winglet. And this winglet can be installed whether on a car with 0 rockers. So now you could get a body-colored spear and then the rocker winglet, or in this case, on this side, our Z51 side rocker in carbon flash, getting our Z51 rocker winglet, or what I think will be our most popular setup, a Z06 side rocker for Stingray, with the rocker winglet. So we've saved the other side to do the installation together. I'll be walking you through the install step by step, showing you how to lay it out, what to look for, and how to complete the installation. We'll be installing the 5VM rocker winglet on the passenger side of our C8 Stingray here. And what we'll notice, it is a pretty heavy part. It's actually 2 components assembled together. And what we have to look out for is this one here is actually for the Z06 rocker panel. The other side actually had a Z51, which has a different shape. So when ordering, be careful with the options. You'll have a rocker winglet for a no rocker car, which means you don't have an accessory, but the car itself does have a rocker with a spear. We have our Z51 we saw on the other side. And this side, the car's equipped with our Z06 side rocker and our best seller. So it's got a $1,200 aero package, which comes with a 1VM splitter and our Z06 rocker. I would say this is probably our most popular, only because it meets a lot of needs. It's sporty yet conservative. So we see a lot of guys with HTCs wanting something subtle. This is the answer that basically fits most. The fun thing today is that we can add a rocker winglet, which goes right in the back, which gives the whole side a whole new dimension. Now you start getting a more aggressive, sporty look without the big price of a 5VM. And of course, you don't lose this. And you get a combination of a Z06 and a winglet look. So it's actually pretty cool. On this particular car, we already installed our canards. So basically, this is all about that personalization or making that custom look for you. And it's all about having options, right? So here we have our 1VM splitter, the canard. We actually added the under tray. We're going with the Z06 rocker, which is there. And today we're adding the rocker winglet. So we're really getting to a point that this is a custom, clean look. And a lot of people won't realize your car's been modified. And that's the whole point. We want to make sure that we're designing parts that fit and match your car. The idea is very simple. Buy it once, install it right, and enjoy it for years to come. So let's get into the install and we'll show you exactly how to get this correctly on the car. If you're watching this video, you're probably planning to do this installation at home, and that's perfectly fine. I call this actually a medium difficulty level install, but the car needs to get off the ground. Reason being, the rear wheel has to come off. This means you will need jack and pucks, jack stands. Right here, we have a transmission control module. That has to be removed because we need to have access to the inside of this area. Our rocker winglet is mechanically fastened. So we have two holes that get drilled here. The panel goes on, it gets bolted by the inside, along with the OEM bolts underneath and some rivets. So we're really simulating a full-length rocker installation, whereas we have a lot more rivets on the side. Most of the holes are located here, and two mounting points here. So let's get the wheel off and get it ready for the install. Once the car's off the ground, we're getting the rear wheel off. What I'm using is our 22mm protective lug nut tool. What's really cool about this is it's nylon protected. So we'll notice nylon on the outside, nylon on the inside. Also, the beveled edges are a little relieved, or a little bit relieved, I should say. And what this does is that when we untorque our black lug nuts, while we're not scraping the edges, we're actually untorquing it using the sidewalls. Once this is done, I'll be putting our stud extenders so I can get the wheel off without damaging or chipping our painted calipers. So all little steps so that you don't turn this into a little disaster. So I've learned my lesson. Stud extenders saves my back, saves my calipers. It helps me glide the wheel out and not stress out over dropping it. Our next step is to remove the wheel liner. This is held on with a series of T15 screws and a couple of nail clips, so pretty simple. We'll start by removing the plastic nail clip. And the way these work is there's a nail or an insert, and there's a provision to put a little trim tool in it. Once you have that, you could use a trim fork and remove it. So very straightforward. We'll remove and obviously save all the fasteners. Haven't decided yet if we're going to remove the complete wheel liner. I know I don't have to because I've done this install before and I was able to fold it. But for the sake of the video, I think we're just going to remove it to get some better views and better understanding of what's entailed. At the bottom, we have two 7mm screws that hold the liner to the rocker panel. And this should free up the wheel liner. A lot of the times we'll find a ton of rocks in this area, so be careful. My U-clip fell off, I want to save that. As we peel this, we'll see the control module we were talking about. This will need to be removed and carefully set aside just so we could have access to this side of the car. So I was able to peel the liner very carefully and perfectly away. So we're actually keeping it on the car, saving us from removing the rear rock guard. We're now back to the control module, and this is held on with 4 7mm screws. We're sliding it up, and it's got enough wire to move it aside and set it on the chassis. And now we can take a look inside, and that's exactly where we'll be fastening our rocker winglet on this panel. So we're only drilling a 1/8 thin panel, sending with some washers, and it's mechanically held onto the car. With our template, we're able to locate the holes, and the template is referencing top body line, the rear edge, and a Z06 rocker in this case. So hopefully this was correctly installed and at room temp. We'll see it at times. Sometimes we'll see a little gap here. There's a little bit of heat expansion. This happens on the OEM Z51, even on a real Z06, and occasionally on these two here. So hopefully that's not the case when you're doing your install. If it's at room temp, you should have a very tight fit here, assuming the install is correct, and we got the correct gapping in the front. So also make sure you get a tight fit at the top. What I'll do is I'll prep some masking tape just to hold my template. Once I'm happy with all that, we'll be drilling a 1/4 inch hole and finally a 5/16 hole. We'll notice on the template we have a circle up front and a small oval in the rear. Reason for that is that generally this is a hole that requires some adjustment. So we're going to start with a hole. We'll be drilling our initial 1/4 inch hole and then upping it to 5/16. It's an M6 stud that goes through this, so that gives us just a little bit of room to get the sweet spot where we're happy with the fit. Definitely this is the most painful part of the whole process. We're drilling into our car. Yes, it's non-reversible, but you'll reap the rewards once the installation is done. All this gets covered up by a rocker winglet, and it will look spectacular. Position the hole in the center, hold perpendicular. Keep in mind, the panel is only 1/8 thin. You'll notice I drilled it pretty easily. This panel here is made out of SMC, which is basically a rigid, high volume fiberglass material. It drills very easily. It'll never rust, it'll never rot. So there's no concerns from that end. You just don't want to poke inside and find out. In this particular case, there's nothing, but again, it's a 1/8 inch panel. I'm centered in the oval. And there we have it, it's been drilled. This is a 1/4 inch. I'm now upping to 5/16. At this point, I'm removing my template. See the irreversible damage we have. Two clean holes, 5/16 drill bit, centered. So from the most painful part to the most gratifying part, we're now going to pick up the 5EM winglet and do our first trial fit. The install is pretty simple at this point. We have the holes pre-drilled for the 7mm screws at the bottom. We have our studs, which will go through the panel, and the rest of the holes are for rivets that we'll have to install. We'll line up the stud, and there we go. So this is the point where we have to check. I'm going to go ahead and put a washer on the back side just to hold it so we can take a look. The second one's a little deep, an arm's length I would say. So it's on. I'm now taking a look. I want to make sure I'm happy with the fit and its positioning. So remember, these are nominal holes. The big variable here is going to be the positioning of the side rocker. So what we did here is we intentionally moved the back to give us a worst case scenario. What I'm noticing here is I got a bit of a gap here and a little bit of a tightness here. So what I'm gonna do is remove it, show you guys how to slot it, oversize it. So we have different options of what we could do here. But see, we have a 1/16 play. I'm actually needing a little more. I need like probably 1/8. So I could either go with a 5/16 plus 1/8 drill bit, or in this case here, I'll show you guys how to file it so we could get it flush and happy with. So this is a little bit dependent on the installation of the rocker, if it's there or not, which model, where it is. So we're going with the worst case scenario here just to show exactly the steps involved. We want to shift the part back. This means we have resistance with the body panel on the rear edge, and it was about 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm doing is I'm using a black marker to basically get a 1/8 inch slot towards the rear. I'm using a file, which is the simplest way to do this. I'm tempted to go take a Dremel tool with a mechanical file on it, but I'm assuming if you don't have it, this is probably the easiest, and I've already attained my 1/8 inch. I like a nice slot, so I'm just doing an oval. There we have it, that should help us. Nothing to worry about. The back side, we have a large washer basically backing out that M6 nut, so there's no risk or issue. And again, if we're doing a circle, it's not prone to cracking. Once we support it all, it'll be a rigid mount. Let's go for our second fit. And there we go, I like it. So we want to be basically with the radii of the body panel. We don't want to protrude out. Go back with our fasteners. Double checking everything. And I'm very happy. We could use our 10mm to tighten it up. In the front here, I got a bit of a sagging. So what I'm gonna do is, might get some help just to hold this corner up so I could get it as tight as possible. Otherwise, I risk tightening it up there, and I doubt I'll be able to do both at the same time. Using a 10mm, I'll start by tightening the front one. In this particular case, I was favoring pulling rearward and the front tip up. Obviously, it'll be different on every car depending on the rocker and car situation, and obviously winglet. So we're trying to attain a fit that we're happy with. So it's basically a balance between all these gaps and interactions. Keep in mind, this is like the last piece of the puzzle between the two. So it's a tight fit, but you should be able to get something decent that's reasonable. Obviously behind here is a little critical. I see I got a little gap right here, but basically you can't really see it. I'm very happy with it. I'd rather get a nice interaction with my rocker to winglet where I get a parallel gap and it's consistent throughout, so I'm very happy. That's tight. Our next step's gonna be the bottom. I'm gonna go back and pick up our original 7mm screws, and let's see if we can get these back on. But before we do that, we'll be putting back our transmission control module, wheel liner, since these screws are held on with the liner itself. We're now reversing the steps we did earlier. I'm reinstalling the control module with these mounting points. I guess the only note I have here is this goes behind the clip, so that actually holds it. Good chance to get rid of your rocks. there we have it. And actually, fun observation, I guess. When I look up, I could see our engine appearance package, or the louvered engine panel, and we see right out. So if ever you wonder where the heat comes from, well, there you have it. We never touched the harness itself, so it's still connected. Let's unfold the wheel liner. Make sure your two U-nuts are still in place at the bottom. The T15 SEM screws go on the edge of the wheel liner. Make sure I get a tight seal and it's correctly positioned. And we can continue with the rest of our T15s. I had one up here. One at 1 o'clock. And another one at the bottom. I'm going to move to the bottom, back to our 7mm. These might be a little more difficult, but like I said, we have this hole here that could help us reposition it if need be. For the bottom, 2 7mm bolts, we supply you new ones, which are a little longer, just to offset the panel thickness and make the install a little easier. Hopefully the U-nut is located. That's great. If not, you may need to release it and move the liner, or go with a small pick just to position it correctly. I'm double checking all my fastening points. What I have left is our plastic nail clip. So reassemble it and the hole. Getting ready to install my mechanical fasteners or rivets at the bottom. If you did your rockers, then you're very familiar with this. If not, I'll go quickly through it. This is an aluminum split rivet. The reason we use these is that they're intended for fiberglass use. Screws don't work, self-tappers don't work, tape will not work. It's really important. It's actually a GM part that we recycle. And what this does is it goes through your panels, and once you collapse it, it actually creates a little star spreading the load. So that's the beauty of it, and that's what ensures that the fiberglass doesn't crack. Whereas a screw, a self-tapper, for example, well, all you're grabbing is those threads. We noticed before when I drilled the car, it's very powdery because it's full of filler, actually. So it won't hold over time. So it's really important to follow the instructions and use the supplied hardware. Now the part that's on the car, I've actually noticed I have some extra holes. This is a pre-production part. It's actually the third or fourth set we've built. We're optimizing this drilling pattern, but as you get your pieces, probably the instructions will clarify all that. Needless to say, the production holes are gonna be this one here and on the edge. So there's gonna be a total of 7 rivets to be installed. I'm gonna start in the front because I know this is the most critical area. I'm using a 3/16 drill bit, going through it, position it, and I'm going through 2 holes. And just like before, it's actually a pretty thin panel that I'm drilling. I drilled through the Z06 rocker in this case, and then the car's fiberglass panel. Going back with my riveter. You could use a hand riveter, it's perfectly fine. These are aluminum, so it's not difficult. And I'm pushing down. I'm noticing I'm actually hitting the aluminum chassis, so I have a small gap. So what I'm doing, I'm favoring up, pulling the panel down, and crimping it. If I was using a manual one, I could also use a pry bar inside to help me pull it down as I crimp it. Same result. Keep going. My next one is this one here. I drill through it. I'm installing now the second rivet. I'm going to use my pry bar just to pull the panel. Depending on the assembly, sometimes there's excess of adhesive on this edge, sometimes it's not, so it's been very inconsistent. What's important is that I grab both panels. As much as we love power tools, certain situations just doesn't fit, so I'm relying on our good old hand riveter. And nail goes into the mandrel, into the skin. Both skins are collapsed or touching, and we squeeze. Last pull is the one that tears the nail, and there you have it, manually done. So this completes the lower portion of our hard fasteners. We have 7 rivets and 2 7mm screws. Our next step is going to be to clean it up, put the tire back on or the wheel back on, put it on the ground and see what she looks like. We're on the home stretch, just putting the wheel back on, using my trustworthy stud extenders. Going back to basics, we follow the star pattern and retorque. I think these go to 140. Main reason I love this tool is I have the right extension. So when we had these made, we actually made sure we cleared a quarter panel compared to the typical ones where you risk scratching it. So it's good insurance. That completes the installation of the 5EM Rocker Winglet, and I could say I'm really proud of what we've done. A few comments or notes on it. The profile of it is exactly like a 5EM. I get excited over the fact that it's now bringing a new twist to it. Having the Z06 front rocker with the 5EM gives us a whole new dynamic and a much more aggressive and different feel to it. So I think a lot of guys are going to appreciate that. If you have a Z06 rocker, you definitely should consider this as an upgrade. And even if you're in the market for that, I could see us making a bundle where both will be offered together. This concludes this ACS install session. And I could say that even though the Stingray is 5 years old, we've been at this for over 20 years. I could proudly say that we're still trying to follow our core thoughts, which is really to build it right, build it once, and have a regret-free purchase. And that's really what we're all about. We want to deliver the best there is. So hopefully you appreciate that. If you have any questions, be sure to reach out, comments below, or go directly to acscomposite.com.